Time being 6 o'clock, I'm going to call the Board of Health meeting to order. All members are present. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May all be seated. The first item on our agenda are announcements from the Health Division of the Inspectional Services Department. I will turn it over to Chris for that announcement.
Only one today. Just a reminder to our residents that the town compost site will be reopening not this weekend, but next weekend, April 4th, 9 to 2. I'm happy to report at this time that we are fully staffed for the season. So, short of bad weather, we expect to be open every Saturday.
All righty. Any questions for?
What hours on Saturdays?
9 to 2.
9 to 2.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Moving forward, the first item for our discussion and action items are to vote to approve the meeting minutes from March 4th. Everybody should have a copy of those. Do I have any action?
I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 4th.
Motion approved by Katie. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Lisa. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Those are approved. Health agent report?
All right, everyone should have a copy. Inspection since our last meeting. Lua Brazilian Market, Starbucks over at Target, Target itself, the Dunkins on North Quincy Street and Brockton Ave and Sarcastic Swine. We had no priority violations issued, which is always good. Complaints, we got a overflowing dumpster and unregistered vehicle complaint from 70 Everett Street. They're frequent flyers. I sent a correction order on the dumpster and referred the vehicles over to zoning. On the 5th, there was a mold complaint at the Point. Went out and did a housing inspection, correction order issued and resolved. Got a call on the 13th. This is a strange one. A woman on East Street, apparently when her house was connected to sewer back in 2000, there was a gray water septic tank in addition to the black water septic tank that was not decommissioned. And her laundry's been running into it, causing flooding in the house. She thinks the town should be responsible. I advised her to get a lawyer. It's Massachusetts state law under Title V that your septic tanks have to be decommissioned when you hook up to sewer. If that wasn't done, that would be the contractor that did the hookup. She wasn't happy with that answer, but I can't enforce anything that was done 26 years ago. So there's that. Then we got noise complaints, one from Hanson Tree. I stopped by and spoke with those folks over there. They're going to start later in the day. And then a North Ave complaint. The complainant said the police have been called several times, so I'm just waiting for copies of the police logs before I send a correction order to the landlord. And then for training or conferences, last week I attended MHOA's quarterly seminar, which was preparing for housing court, and they had a mock housing court trial in the afternoon. So that was a much more exciting day than a Title V day. That's all I got.
Great. Any questions for the health agent?
No, thank you.
All right. With that, we'll move on to a discussion and vote to support municipal solid waste request for proposal, or RFP. Chris, can I have you kind of give the high level on this?
Sure. So as everybody knows, Boston Carting is our trash company. We had a 3-year contract with them with an option to extend annually twice, which we did. So they've been our contractor for the last 5 years. That contract expires June 30th. Under Massachusetts law, Section 30B, municipalities do not have to put trash out to bid as long as the contract is under 5 years. But our town manager has decided to put a bid out, with the fiscal crisis that the town is looking at, to see if we can get a better price. Our trash right now is about 1.5 to 1.6 million. As you may hopefully aware, this fiscal year it's being paid out of free cash, and it's not in the budget for FY27. I believe they're taking out of free cash in that as well, and that's not sustainable. So that's the short story. The request for proposal is an exact copy of the last one that went out in 2021. We're not asking for anything different. It has gone to legal and is all set to go out. We're just looking for the board's blessing, I guess.
What are the chances that Boston Carting's gonna increase our pricing by not just staying with them and like putting quotes out? Does that, I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm just like thinking out loud.
Yep, I don't know.
I'll be the first to say, I think this is a horrible idea. I totally understand the town's financial situation, and I will be the first to admit that there are things that we need to do. I'm a little confused as to how we're about to present a budget in May to town meeting, and we haven't actually put this out for a request yet, and we're gonna have that information in time, and our contract ends in 3 months, and now we're looking at this. I think this is an FY '28 problem. We can budget for what we know right now, especially if we can, project that, so. I appreciate what the town manager's trying to do. I don't agree with that, so that's my opinion. Any other discussion?
Could you just say again, their current contract expires when?
June 30th.
So if we don't put it out to bid, that will roll over, get renewed?
You will have no trash pickup on July 1st.
Oh, okay, so we have to reapprove their contract.
Yep.
Have you been in touch with the town manager? Like,
Yes, we've been working very closely on
so
this.
the bids are out, like
No.
nothing is done yet?
No, the request for proposal is complete. It's gone through legal review, so it's ready to go out, and we'll probably be putting it out on Friday. And then just the only thing that we need to set is the deadlines, depending on the actual date it's released. I think it's like a 2 to 3 week window for companies to come up with the bids, submit them, then they get reviewed.
So by the end of April, theoretically, and then he would look at them and then make the proposal, and then do we decide based on the quotes what the next one is,
We
or it goes to
have
the town?
no
and-
participation.
No,
But
okay.
the town manager asked us for our opinion, and
okay,
my,
just asking.
my opinion is that this is a bad idea, so.
You don't think there's enough time to get everything?
I don't think we're gonna do our due diligence, and, I mean, if anybody remembers when Republic was our trash hauler in 2019, and there was literal trash piling up in the street, and we had to open up a transfer station illegally because people weren't getting their trash taken care of. We know what we're getting good service,
Boston
so,
Carting has been very receptive,
yeah,
and like,
we've had no issues.
your communication with them has been very prompt, I think, like they,
They talk to those guys every day.
yeah. This is a little disappointing.
I appreciate the willingness to try and save a dollar where we can. That's what we have to do. This is just the wrong time to do that. You know, this is a problem. Waste management is a problem. I'll be honest with you, I think town meeting should have passed last year the option that we had because it would have helped reduce this cost. It's just the reality. It's what most communities do, but instead we're stuck in this situation. So I personally would not like to take any vote on this at all, but I would open it up if any other board member has opinion or action or.
What was the vote at town meeting that did not get passed?
It was to open a trash enterprise fund that everybody would, essentially, they'd get billed, I think it was quarterly was the plan, for trash. It would work out to be about $300 a year. That would have, offset those costs. We're not trying to pay it out of property taxes, looking at overrides. We're not trying to pay it out of free cash anymore, although that was the initial plan, was to pay out of free cash and 100%, then move down in that scale. We didn't go that route. That's not what we're doing. So an RFP is not going to solve the problem, in my opinion. I'm very passionate about this, if nobody can tell. So, but,
What I'm confused about is why do we have to vote on this proposed thing when the town manager ultimately makes the decision?
we don't have to. We were asked to put this on the agenda by the town
okay.
manager.
Yeah, he's just asking the board to vote to support it. That's all. It's like-
It just seems a little moot. He's the one that, we
Yeah.
don't decide if the contract's accepted or denied. We don't decide who the bids go out to. We don't decide how that's written up. But we're supposed to say, but we're supposed to say yes.
Or no, we could say we don't support
Yeah.
it.
Or we could all abstain.
Right. I
Well,
would
I
abstain.
just,
I don't
it
feel
does
like
seem
I-
kind of like the brick wall.
I don't know the background, so I don't feel strongly on voting, but I'll defer to people who are involved as yourself.
I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna make a motion that we actually vote not to support the municipal RFP, municipal solid waste RFP. Why not?
I want to abstain.
The motion can die, it's okay, but I'm making my opinion very much known.
Yeah.
Does
I respect
somebody have to
that.
second it?
If for it to go, yeah. So, it's okay if it doesn't.
I'm
get seconded.
very close to seconding it. Because the point is moot.
It is.
We don't decide anything, so why should we decide for the request?
I fully.
I'll second it.
Okay, all right, we have a motion. I fully understand why I want to work in unity with the town manager. The first time that the Board of Health has a conversation about this should not be 2 days before this is going to go out. If that's the case, just do it. Don't even come and ask us, my opinion. So,
I agree with your opinion.
all right, so we have a motion and a second. Any
Yeah.
further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm gonna
Abstain?
say, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, the motion passes. We are
Yeah.
going to formally not support that. Any other comments or things on that before we move on to the next thing? No. Thank you for indulging us here.
Apologize.
All right, now that my blood pressure's up. Let's see, discussion regarding a proposed regulation prohibiting the manufacture, sale, and distribution of kratom. So we had Melissa Cook come last meeting, talk about kratom a little bit. One of the things she provided us with was details from Canton on how they made their regulations, excuse me. So what I did just for us to look at this, see if this is something we want to do, there is basically Canton's draft with Abington inserted, which is what town council would do if we were to look at something similar. So we know that. Nothing that is in here came from the mouth of any person here. I'm saying that sentence now. This is purely just for our edification, to see if this is the direction in which we want to go with something related to this, should we want to regulate it. So that is before our eyes. I don't feel that I should lead this discussion other than just moderate, so I would welcome comments from the rest of the board. But I'll open to
I
that.
have many comments. I've done a lot of homework since the last meeting, and I was able to sit in on a webinar put on by the state that focused on local boards of health passing bans. And I think, this is good. Canton has had, kind of was one of the two presenters from different towns. The other was from Northampton, telling us what the process was for putting into place the ban. There's a lot of steps. We have to go through that whole process of identifying retailers, making sure our regs are ready to go, and publicize as required in terms of notifying the retailers and other interested parties, and then figure out if this is right for our town. One thing that came out of that webinar was from Meredith O'Leary in Northampton. They put this in place a couple of years ago, and they already feel like they need to amend it, because if you just focus on one substance, and that being kratom, you will have to go back and change your regs or add new regs when other kinds of synthetic and unregulated synthetic, mind-altering, and kind of drugs that are out there. I mean, there's many. And so her suggestion, this is Meredith O'Leary from Northampton, was a longer name for the regulation, as if this one isn't long enough, but it would include prohibiting the manufacture, sale, and distribution of kratom products, unregulated synthetically derived cannabinoids, and unregulated novel intoxicants as they emerge. Because I think her point was well taken when you start looking at some of the kind of off the radar drugs that people are using. And then I started looking more at what the marketing looks like. And like the early days of vaping before regulations were put into place, lots of advertising that's directed to kids, the flavors, the delivery systems, and we're talking about highly concentrated substance that that really needs regulation at the federal level, if you ask me, but they haven't finished that yet. The FDA is worried about false claims on the packaging that says this is like a natural, healthy way to enhance your well-being, when in fact it's addictive, and if used in the wrong concentrations or the higher concentrations that are being marketed, leads to, you know, kind of severe health outcomes in addiction. And we don't really want kids to be able to go into a corner store and purchase it. The packaging is pretty, it's colorful. It's you know, kind of what I think happened with early days in vaping, and it's kind of going under the radar a little bit. But hopefully the FDA and the DEA and the other federal level, and maybe even state level, will take this on. But in the meantime, I think we probably want to follow in Canton's footsteps and many other towns across the Commonwealth. I think another one in Plymouth County is Kingston. And to make sure that we do kind of cover the non-kratom comparable things that are synthetics, that are not regulated, and that have no quality control, are highly concentrated, and the production lacks safety standards. So, I like this because Canton did it, and, you know, like, most of the stuff that's in here seems to be, I think, very applicable to Abington, because we have, I don't know, how many tobacco retailers that's where you often find these products, as if they're in the same category.
24.
24 retailers. And yeah, this is purchasable online. All you have to do is click a little box that says I'm over 21. And there doesn't seem to be any kind of controls over that as well. There are people who use the pure leaf of kratom, and there's really not good, you know, kind of retail shops that you'd get that. You'd get that through the manufacturer of like the specific kratom that comes from Thailand. But again, there's no regulations in Thailand about the health standards before the product even leaves Thailand to get imported. So that's just my spiel for right now, but I think we need to go ahead, and I think we talked about that last meeting, and yeah, so anyone else?
I agree with you, Carol. I'd love to see this be reached at a state level, but until then, I like the idea of Abington being proactive. I'd like us to be makers of change. And I agree for all the reasons you just said, that, you know, making it less accessible to youth is super important.
Any other discussion, action, things?
Oh, I agree. When I was just reading up on it online, the FDA does not approve any form of kratom at all, and explains in detail about the substances that are more like the opioid substances and very addictive and high risk for health. And I think they're looking to classify it as a more high-risk drug. They just have to finish their studies and research on it, get approvals that way, scientific approvals. So in the meantime, there's enough evidence, I think, that we need to keep the community safe and not sell it.
Okay. However, you four would like to proceed with that.
I would just add that
yeah.
I think there was many people on the board, I'm speaking for you all, who had no idea what this was 2 months ago. And, but if you ask the 15-year-olds out there, they probably do. They might not know it's you know, kratom name, it might know it as, some of the names, Max Out, Trainwreck, Perks, Feel Free. So, yeah, they probably know those product names, but they don't know that it contains something called kratom, because that's just a weird word that isn't in everybody's vocabulary yet. So part of what I think this act will do is give us an opportunity to educate a little bit more about it as well.
I think we keep it on the agenda, go over the draft that Aaron kind of implemented Abington into, and then continue to review it next week. Next meeting,
Next meeting.
not next week.
Do we need to, once we, well, just like thinking ahead, sorry. Once we get a draft that we think we like, does it have to go to a public hearing, do you know, or more just education to the?
Board of Health is not required to hold a public hearing when it comes to enacting new regulations, though it is always encouraged to hold that public hearing, so.
For educational reasons.
And
Yeah, and to get feedback from the community. Sorry, Carol.
sorry. And are we required to have legal counsel?
No, and most of the trainings that are provided actually say that they're only going to provide form changes, not content changes, and that doesn't seem to happen every single time. The one thing I will say that might happen with Kratom, whatever it's called today, versus some of the other regulations is this isn't as highly regulated, so there's only a handful of regulations for the copy and paste errors that we ran into with animals are probably less likely to occur just by sheer fact of the frequency of this being low at the moment. But that's a decision you folks can make. There's no reason you can't. You just need to circulate in the newspaper once before it gets regulated.
So that's the one required thing, is to publicize newspaper, hand-delivered letter, and kind of local TV. Is that the best strategy for?
Sure, yeah. Past the newspaper, there's no other legal requirement, but I would publicize. I would definitely hold a public hearing. If I were here, I would advocate for that.
When Canton did their public hearing, they had two people come that were, they represented a Vietnam vets organization that were using several different substances for relief of symptoms from their medical and psychological issues around their their military service. But they purchase the leaf version of Kratom online. So they just showed up at the meeting, but they weren't opposed to it. None of the retailers in Canton showed up. So it's good to know too.
But we can invite them.
Yeah, they should be.
It was a really good webinar.
You were going to ask
yeah,
about
okay.
getting the recording of that?
I haven't yet.
You haven't heard? Okay.
Thanks for taking the time to attend it
Oh, yeah.
and to seek it out.
Yeah, it was fun. And my student was a moderator.
Yeah, I'd like to hear.
Any other discussion on this? It sounds like it'll be on the agenda moving forward.
Yeah, do we need to motion that or just?
Just
Put it on
put it on the
Say
agenda.
on the agenda.
Great. We'll move forward. Discussion regarding the proposed rules and regulations governing horses and stables. I'm going to apologize profusely. I had not had any chance to make any changes to that. Completely my fault. With that, I think part of the discussion we did have last time related to horses and stables was considering tabling that for a little bit. This would maybe be of the two regulations where I would maybe be in favor of tabling until right to farm conversations happen in a month or so. Just because this is a little more specific to things that might fall in that category. But that's my personal opinion. Open up to any other discussion there, but we don't have an updated draft that we're looking at, and that's my fault, so.
But I thought that one had more sense of urgency because of the fee that we had agreed on.
It does in a month. Is it going to make a difference? No. You could look at it with a new board in May and try and solve those problems then.
You don't want your name on it after all of the hard work you've put into it?
No. No, I don't. So that's my opinion. I think it should just be tabled, to be honest.
So do you want to forward your copy back to me and then we can take it on?
Yeah, and I'm happy to be a resource as much as I can, especially in this last week here. Like, if I can still provide that updated copy, I will make sure I get that done.
Okay.
I ran out of time, so
Happens.
happy to do that. But at least for this discussion now, I don't think we're prepared to continue with that.
Agreed.
Any other discussion on that? No. Then there's animals, which are next. We could probably have a little bit more of a conversation with that. There is a copy, Carol, Lisa, you guys did a really great job combing through some things. We can, I think, talk through some of those things in there. Do either of you want to take the lead on maybe some of the notes that you had that you kind of made specific changes to, or?
Well, I guess the first thing that I mentioned in the last meeting was to decide whether we're really doing a regulation that involves permits and fees or whether we are offering some guidance for people to participate in a registry of animal owners in the event of any kind of health-related emergency that comes up, so we'll know, who's who and what they, if it's a bird flu issue, we know who has the flocks and so on. So my comments were mainly thinking of it as a guidance for good health in the community. But a lot of it was written as still a permit, and, words like inspection were still in there, and enforcement was in there once, and so I think we just have to, as a board, decide which direction we're going, and then we can either go forward or table that. Yeah, so that's all.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what we talked about last time, that we were going to remove anything having to do with enforcements and have this be more voluntary basis and not try to put specific fees into it right now, just to encourage people to register their animals, so we would have a way to communicate if there were any emergencies or if we needed to put out any information on something happening.
And this is just a draft still.
Right, yes.
Yes.
This is only a draft.
I thought that was important. And, because, this other draft here with all the red stuff on there, that wasn't us at all.
No.
I remember.
Yeah.
So now,
I like to make that point clear.
Yeah.
That one you have is me. There's one previous, there's too many drafts of this. Let's start with that
That's why I
sentence.
started putting
Yeah.
dates on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, but
But yes, to your point, there is a draft that was not us at all. That does exist.
And it had the red like this.
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah.
I was really hoping to wrap this up and then be able to have the final copy done tonight before your departure. But Lisa and I did agree to take lead on reaching out to some of the people who had come to the public hearing who were more experienced in this field. And one of them has not gotten back in touch with us, and the other one just got back in touch with me right before this meeting. And that was Josh Kimball, and he's given me email permission to review his thoughts and present them tonight. But because I didn't have an opportunity to read them and then think about them and put them into, thought process with the draft, I think we hold off, because I'd really still love to hear from Meg Riley as well. I want it to be perfect before we tie it up with a bow.
Yep, I agree.
Do you want me to
She was going out
go-
of town today, so I think she just didn't, by the time I contacted her on Monday, she probably just didn't really have time to look at it. So
Do you want me
if
to
we wait till
read
the
these
next
out?
meeting-
Yeah, but I can read them out so that way it's kind of like correspondence. So this is from Josh Kimball, who was one of the speakers that spoke against the animal regulation registration at public hearing. And he said, "Hi, Katie. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to review the redraft of the animal registration regulation for your consideration and scaling back much of the vague and overreaching language found in previous versions. The revision is much more realistic and demonstrates an effort to balance public health issues and legitimate agricultural and animal ownership activities. A couple suggestions for clarification. Number one, for what public health reason do we need to register all livestock? The regulation as written does not take into account the scale of livestock ownership nor the potential impact. It might be reasonable for the board to consider registering livestock only after a certain number are owned, or a complaint has been made, or there is some other nuisance or health issue documented. If the Board of Health simply needs to know where animals are located within town for the purpose of disease control, emergency planning, escaped animals, contacts, etc., then the town animal inspector already knows where, or should know where, most livestock are located to deal with these exact issues. Creating a registration would arguably duplicate that effort. Number 2, the requirement to supply a sketch including location of wells, septic systems, and wetlands may be covered under existing Conservation Commission, Building Department, and Board of Health septic regulations, so simplifying that requirement or eliminating it altogether unless there is an extenuating concern may prevent double regulation. And number 3, clarify the section on fees. If such a fee gets set, it should be very minimal on the purpose of this bylaw is to gain compliance, not generate revenue. Overall, this regulation is a vast improvement from the previous version, and I appreciate the effort on the board that the board went through to eliminate overstepping language and create a workable regulation. I would be happy to provide my professional insight into any future drafts. Sincerely, Josh Kimball. I think that was really nice. I didn't have a chance to read the whole thing until just now, but I am happy that he responded and is a willing participant.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, you have no idea where all of the livestock is.
I don't know where all of it is. There's no way you can
No.
possibly.
Right. I
didn't think so.
Right?
That seemed like a,
Four people
Yeah.
in front of you all buying chickens this morning, so.
right,
You don't know. but
Right.
You know where like a general mix of it is.
sure, yeah. That seems a little weird,
Yeah.
that's all.
Can I speak on this too?
Yeah, sure, if you want to come up to the mic and give your address, we'll do the whole
I'll
procedure.
do it quick. Joe Kenny, 172 Russell Lane, also do animal control, and animal inspector. So, I actually read through the draft as well. I think it's significantly better than it was. And I think it's much more to the point of what you guys were looking to do originally. I think most of what's on there is pretty reasonable. There's only 2 things that I might suggest, and that's only to eliminate calls to myself and Chris, is 1, in your definitions, you define animals, and you use animals in the language. I think instead of defined as animals and written in the laws as animals, you should change it to livestock. Livestock is written in most Massachusetts general laws as opposed to animals, because when you say animals, it's a very generalized term. So, not that it's not clearly defined in your paperwork, I think it is, but to the general public, when you read the law, it makes it more confusing with some of the other wording further down. I just think if you changed it to livestock, it fits a livestock bill, right? This is really affecting livestock, and changing it from animal to livestock is just gonna eliminate the crossover of chaos that's gonna be like, my neighbor has his guinea pig outside, or they have their tortoise outside, or they have their dog outside, and they're not pre-approved, right? So I think just changing it from animal to livestock would be my only big suggestion. The other one, where it was in the zoning, there was like a 300 feet from wells. I don't know the zoning laws, so I can't speak on this. I don't know if that is a zoning thing in Massachusetts, if it's a, whatever it is. I just think, me personally, it's not a big deal to me, I don't know. But I think the average person going in and buying 3 chickens and putting them in their backyard, not every yard in Abington has space 300 feet from an existing well or a sewerage or whatever it is. So I think that's I don't know.
So
what-
feet
I
aren't
think
in
it's
there?
on 8.
You
It's,
want them to be in there?
No,
All residents who keep animals must comply with all federal, state, and local regulations and bylaws, including but not limited to the Town of Abington zoning bylaw, the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Town of Abington stormwater.
What
No,
what
I
you're
think-
referring to is that we just want to know what wells and septic systems are within 300 feet, not tell them where.
Okay, see, the way I read it, I was reading it as it was like,
Yeah.
you couldn't have them within 300 feet of that, but I think that's reasonable. That's the only,
Sure, because that helps
as far
him
as I was
too with
concerned,
the.
yeah, that helps Chris. And like I said, I was only thinking about those on the lines of, to eliminate possible calls to myself and Chris that are gonna be pestery. I think, like I said, other than that, which makes total sense.
Sure.
Right? I think the only thing I can recommend on it and see as possibly alleviating some phone calls might be the changing from animals, or defined as animals to livestock.
Good.
And
Got it.
just, yeah, that's the only thing. Other than that,
Are
I
you
think it's
saying
actually pretty
we have
well.
your blessing?
I actually don't think it's that bad, so I feel like it doesn't step on
Say it loud, say it
people,
proud.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'll take
don't-
not bad.
I don't think it's, granted, I'm not a person that wants to put any more animal regulations in,
Yep.
but I do think that this is a good compromise
I
between
appreciate you saying
the
that.
general public, and animal keepers, as well as
What we were trying to
concerned,
accomplish.
concerned other residents and the general health of everything. So I honestly do support how it's written. I don't think that it's that far off.
Okay, good.
I can only speak
Yeah.
for myself, but yes, putting this to rest would be advantageous.
Yeah. Like I said, I think this is written significantly better. Agree with Josh. But the wording on this is less demanding on people and makes it a little bit more reasonable for the average person.
Which was our goal from the get-go.
Yeah, and I agree, like I said, I've sat through most of these that I've known
You
about,
did.
right? Like, and I'll push back where I need to, but I think this meets what you guys need, as well as what people are allowed to keep in their yard and keep their rights.
Yep.
I think this meets both sides of the
Thank you.
argument.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
That's about it for
Yeah.
me.
And thanks for taking the time to
Yeah,
come.
appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. So I guess
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm curious with Carol's comments, and then there was a lot of things that I put in green, which kind of added to her comments. If everyone feels like those are agreeable to, or do you want to go through line by line and just say, you know, leave it the way Carol had it, don't add Lisa's comment, or, because I think that's the next step here, so
Yeah, we
suggesting.
could do that now.
Let's do it, yeah.
There are a few things I do disagree with in here. I think we can talk through them. Nothing earth-shattering, I think. So let's see what we can do, I guess, real quickly. So I'll do my best to kind of lead through this. I do not see any major changes in section 1 and 2 from the original couple of drafts. Is that a correct assumption? Unless anybody has any opinion on that, let's move to section 3. Great. With the definitions, Joe did mention animals versus livestock. I don't know how we feel about that. I'm personally in favor of that.
I am also in favor, because that
Okay.
still covers all of the animals that we had concerns about.
Right, and we've also listed out the ones that aren't included, the domesticated ones.
So in that sentence, you can omit the word livestock,
Oh, yeah.
second time.
Oh, right.
Yeah, just put livestock as the definition. Everything is animals such
And
as,
then
et
leave the
cetera.
rest of it the same, and then get rid of livestock.
Yeah, it just means we'll have to change it throughout the document, but that's a find and replace
Yep.
thing. I do see a note on dwelling about, is it just the word habitation or that whole section? Because I believe human habitation is in the that's a pretty standard,
Yeah, that's-
hu-
that's
that,
a legal
that's standard language. I would not
Leave
change
it.
that.
Oh, I think I was saying, do we need to know about dwelling? But I didn't see it anywhere else in the reg, so.
You mean the whole thing, get rid of the
Yeah.
word dwelling?
I only clicked
Oh,
on
just
it.
Dwelling is actually in the definition of domesticated animals, when it's inside an owner's residential dwelling. So,
Beyond.
Okay, so we'll keep it.
Take that out. Good.
So leave it then.
I would leave
As
it.
is.
All right, we have keeping of permit or permits removed. I'll be honest with you, I disagree with removing that, and maybe finding a better word. But what I think once we do that, then we start to lose the teeth of this being a regulation and it just being a program that Chris does. And if that could be the direction that we go, I think we need to decide one way or the other.
What's an
I'm also,
alternative?
great question,
I know,
you know, but I
to permit.
Not
an
sure what it is.
alternative to permit.
Registrant is something that I think I use later. Someone who registers is a registrant. Because when you have a permit, somebody's got to issue the permit, and, right?
I think then, all right, so no one issues a permit, so they just fill out an application, give it to Chris, and we call it a nice day. nothing happens at that point. We just have the information, which maybe is what we want to do, and that's fine. I do think there needs to be at least one level of check and balance with that, of having that issuance of receipt. Maybe it might be beneficial for us to go through the rest of the document and then come back to this and see if it does make sense, because I might be putting the cart before the horse and having this opinion. So totally willing to talk that through. So maybe let's do that, and then we'll come back to this conversation. The other thing is stable that is highlighted, asking if this is needed.
Since it's being addressed in another regulation.
But if the word stable is used in this one, we still have to keep it.
Where is it, where do you see it?
Nowhere yet.
Yeah,
I'm looking.
I don't know that it is.
I don't think so.
Under facility.
Oh, is it in a definition?
The accommodation to be used for the keeping or housing and care of one or more animals, including but not limited to a barn and a stable.
So we.
Do we need the definition of it in the other one? I agree, maybe we just chuck it.
Barn.
Right, we don't have a exactly.
So
I think we can check
the
it.
shorter the better.
Let me just see if it's anywhere else.
I mean, what, for facility, where is facility used? You know what I mean? Like, does it
You want a
materially
sketch of
alter?
the facility, I think it's, when we asked people to,
I don't know that omitting stable as a definition materially changes the thing, so I think that's fine.
No.
so yes, omit stable.
I would be in favor of that.
Okay,
Okay.
so get rid of stable.
Section 4, omitting the section that said, no person shall own or keep, et cetera. I have the same apprehension. If we're putting something in here that is voluntary, then what are we regulating? I think it loses its teeth at that point. So that would be my apprehension there. Doesn't mean that we can't, in essence, do that, I think, but by calling it voluntary in the thing that we're supposed to regulate, which is supposed to be the defining authority on a topic, in a way. Tell me I'm wrong, I'm totally fine with that,
I think
Yeah.
I missed your point. You do not want to call it voluntary?
in the regulation. I think it can be involuntary in practice. I'm sorry, well, involuntary is not the word I'm looking for. Voluntary in practice, which is what I was intending to do by removing the enforcement sections. But I think if it's just going to be voluntary and we don't want to bother putting a permit in place, then we lose the regulation.
It wasn't Carol that was trying to say it was voluntary. It was just from our discussion last time, we mentioned having it be voluntary. It's not that I want it to appear under section 4, it's just that Carol
That's
had.
italicized, you're right.
It's just that Carol had omitted that whole section, so I thought, geez, that second sentence still looks really good.
And you know what, I reread because it was not a comment, so that's my fault. I'll take that.
But I was confused about whether we call it voluntary or not, so I'm glad so you're saying if we just don't put the word in there, then we can decide giving it some more teeth later.
Yeah, or at least, it can always be scoped out or scoped down or whatever it is, but it's not a regulation if if this is a voluntary thing at that point. What are we doing? This is us spinning our wheels. I would say, I think,
Okay, so do you want to
Yeah.
return to having the whole section 4 there, or just part of it?
I don't know that it needs to go back to having the whole section 4 per se. It says no person shall own or keep, or allow any other person to own. It is very restrictive in what it does. I think we can just retool the sentence to say,
I like it as it is.
wordsmith
This
it
is
a
what
bit.
you're talking about, right? This regulation shall not be applied.
No, that's,
Section 4, general
yeah,
requirements.
the original draft. This is the edit.
Okay.
No person shall own or keep or allow other person to.
Because what's the general requirement of the regulation? What are we trying to do and what are we trying to regulate? If we just put, it shall not be applied in a manner that creates undue hardship, we're trying to regulate that we're not going to create undue hardship. That's the way I'm reading
So
it.
just use the second sentence, like I had suggested. You
Well,
don't-
well, no, I think just using the second sentence, we don't actually regulate anything. This regulation shall not be applied in a manner that creates undue hardship or lawful agricultural operations, farms, stables, or other animal-related commercial activities except where necessary to address documented public health hazards. What is the requirement that we're regulating? I just don't think that question's answered. if we leave it that way. But we could say something, instead of saying no person shall, you know, we could say that a person may keep or allow any, we could change it to may, and, you know, something about, I'm sorry, my wordsmith is not working right now.
No person shall own or keep.
But I think we can just say is, hey, we, you know, the Board of Health may keep a registry of animals, of livestock, as we've replaned, on real property in the town of Abington, you know, period. Like, maybe that's what it says, it's just, what this does is create the registry that we're gonna create. That maybe that's just the sentence that needs to come before that, and then that
Right,
happens.
so we
Instead of
keep the
saying no
second
person
one.
can or can't do it, we're gonna create a registry.
Yes,
Maybe that's just what we have to put there, and then it makes sense.
that sounds better.
Sorry it took so long for me to get there.
Does everybody like that?
We could work on the wording, certainly,
But
I
just
just,
get fine tuning the first sentence, keeping the second sentence,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
like the second sentence as well.
you can thank AI for that. All right.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on that? I know I
No.
took a minute to get there. With the exceptions, it's just on the wild and exotic animals, it's this phrase, provided that all versus but will continue to strictly follow. I think
Fine.
it's indifferent to what that means, as long as, I think essentially is, everything's considered a wild and exotic animal that is regulated by the state, under the chapter and verse that is written there. And if it's not, then it becomes the livestock thing, reverts back to that, is the way I'm understanding it, because then livestock would be defined as having any other animal normally found on a farm or for other agricultural, yeah, maybe not. So
Yeah, we just
yeah.
don't want to have Joe and Chris have to regulate that everyone's following the Massachusetts laws for their exotic animals. That's not the
Yeah.
purpose of this. It's just we're saying you need to do
Yeah.
that if you have exotic animals.
And I think all it's saying is that it's not so much that they have to enforce that those things are happening. It would be more, they don't have to register as long as they've done those things. If they haven't done those things, then they'll have to register. That's it. So, and would be complaint driven, I think, because if Chris got a complaint that outside of, you know, Joe, for example, there's some other exotic animal in the community, and
Can I speak on this?
you can.
So,
Come
You
back
wanna
up
come back-
to
yeah.
the microphone.
all right, I don't know my rules. here.
Abington Cam likes the microphone.
Yep.
So Joe Kenny, 172 Russell Lane, Animal Control, Animal Inspector. I know what you guys are saying here, and honestly, this kind of goes back to your livestock definition. Quite honestly, even like the whole domestic pet thing, if you got rid of, I don't know where else in the wording this is, but if you just got rid of domestic animals and you got rid of the exotics and wildlife whole definitions, that stuff is not able to be regulated by the town. So the town Chris can't go out and set up rules for that. That's done by the state and federal. So if you just took that out, like really the only thing that the town has say in would be livestock. Like this is a livestock bill in essence.
I have a better solution to this. Let's just leave the definition of wild and exotic animals because it says that we can't regulate it in the definition. And then if we remove everything after wild and exotic animals shall be exempt and leave it at that, I think it says the same thing twice.
Sure. That sounds good.
Because it's the same laws
Yeah, I think
quoted.
you're just
Saying the same
creating.
thing twice.
It's just saying
Yeah.
the same thing twice,
So,
but like
let's
you
do
said,
that.
it creates stuff for Chris that'll become a problem at some
Yeah,
point.
it would be complaint driven at that point, and I don't think we'll ever run into that. They're just exempt. Call it a day.
Right.
Because it already says
Yep.
chapter 131, okay, fine. It
It's
is
just
the
wild
same
and
thing.
Yeah, because we
twice.
don't define, I mean, we define it by referencing the state, who's already defined it.
Right.
So,
That's what I was trying to say with the wildlife.
yeah, absolutely.
And.
Good
that they set the laws.
recommendation.
Yes. Great. Thank you.
All right, section 6.
Section 6, if it's removing the word "a registration application," just say "application."
Yeah.
I like that, or we can, I mean, "form" was also suggested. I'm indifferent to how that's worded.
Do we like application or form better?
Animal registry form was suggested somewhere. I hear that's a good one.
A registration form.
Sure, registration
Yeah.
form.
I like that better than application.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm fine with either way.
Okay.
So that whole thing is green, but we're only, oh, but the second part is the, okay, never mind.
The next thing is attestation, asking for clarification on that. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
When somebody reads this, what do they think an attestation is? And how are we going to?
I think it's a check mark on
Should be
the,
on the
Yeah,
form.
App-
I
on
know
the form.
that, But like,
It's
how is that word as attestation gonna be interpreted? As we found out before, people see that as much more complicated than we're intending it to be.
I think this is the first time I've seen it, so we don't really know if, but you want to define it a little bit
Yeah.
better?
Can you just add it as a definition?
It just says
we
the
could.
formal act
That's true.
of witnessing, certifying, or
an idea.
verifying the truth. I think you're verifying the truth, that your animals are vaccinated.
And you're gonna
We're
check
just
a box.
asking for your word, yeah.
We could use the word verifying that the following is true.
Verification.
Well, that
You
means
could-
you have to go and double check it. I think we should just say that we're gonna take their word. I like attestation better than verification.
Oh, I
You could,
right.
you could also write the sentence out and just say attestation
Very
that,
nitty-gritty.
that the following sentence is true. And then the sentence is written, that's going to be verbatim on the application.
Sure.
And the sentence could be that all animals are vaccinated and tested in accordance with requirements, if applicable, from the master, et
I
cetera,
think
what's
we just
written
keep
here.
it a checkbox and that they can
Right,
check
but
off what
that's,
they're saying.
that's what it
Yeah.
says, is attestation that the following statement is true.
Yeah. That's
Because
what I
then
want
the
it to
statement
be.
is written, they're not going to be asked to provide anything.
Perfect. Make it a
I think,
checkbox.
maybe,
Easy.
does that meet Claire? Okay.
Yeah. So just to repeat,
Mm-hmm.
is that grammatically correct? Attestation that the following statement is true?
On attestation or attest that
I-
grammar, feel free, totally fine.
I agree.
I was a business major, didn't do anything with the LA, I promise. Not my first language.
This is an attestation that the following statement is true. I don't know.
Figure
Yeah,
it out,
yeah, well,
Yeah.
you can figure that through. Or I think it's a test, but anyways. There was unclear language. Just,
I could suggest omitting the sentence.
description of concern.
I see what you're saying on
Yeah,
that one, Lisa, but I
I think
think
after all the
that,
feedback we got, that would be difficult to, verify and enforce.
I think,
Concise,
I think I'm okay
practical.
with getting rid of it. Keep it just
Yeah.
simple and clear. We don't need to say what the description will be. It just needs to be a brief
Brief
description.
written description.
Yeah, I'm okay with getting rid of that.
What are we getting rid of?
Just the sentence, this
I
description
crossed
shall
out.
be
I guess it doesn't
concise,
matter.
practical, and proportional to the
Yeah,
scale and
that's-
nature of
Yeah.
the animal
Yeah.
use, because that's kind of a given.
yeah, I would nix it.
That's kind of unclear too.
Yep.
Sounds good. Number 8 was for some reason omitted. I think, just in kind of our discussions, we should definitely have it put back in. I think it was accidentally omitted. But 8, which was a simple sketch of the facility showing the property lines, the area where the animals will be kept, the location of all structures, the location of any wells and septic systems within 300 feet of the area where the animal will be kept, and the marking of any wetland resource areas. So it's not telling people they can't have them there, it's just let us know where they are.
I have another idea,
so that
sorry.
helps. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, and
No, you're
sorry
fine.
to throw a wrench in. But what if we also just have that be a part of the checkboxing system, where it's a checkbox that people have to put, that they can just sign off, that says that their facility is 300 feet away from any septic systems, you know what I mean? Just simplifying it even further.
I still think having the location would be helpful for you.
I don't see why it's such a challenge to do a simple sketch.
Okay,
Draw a square
all right.
With another square. That's all I'm looking for.
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
looking for architectural plans or plot plans.
Maybe we provide an example with the
Yeah,
application.
or maybe you can break them up if you're concerned that drawing where those things are, it's those pieces are an attestation and the sketch is a sketch. So it's a sketch of where the facility is showing the property lines and where the animals will be kept, and location of all structures, period, and then they can attest that wells and septic systems are 300 feet of where the animals will be kept, if that's a concern. But most people, I think, would know on their property, maybe with the exception being where their neighbors' things are, where that information is.
Where did the 300 feet come from? Is that a state law?
That's
Do we go
zoning, I
back-
think.
Do we go back?
I think
to
that's
Zoning.
Right, so like, we're not making this particular sentence up, as far as the 300 feet
No.
septic systems and wells.
And I think it's an ask of just where are they relation to what's there, not
Right.
do you have it, I'm gonna police you, that's not what the
Right,
intent is.
Right, so that could get, I'm just worried about things that will get
No,
misconstrued.
we should
Um,
scrutinize this, it's good.
Just maybe something like as per mass law, blah, 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 or zoning, or.
Yeah, well, I mean, the next thing is related to the zoning bylaw, the Wetlands Protection Act, et cetera, so.
So, going back to that number 8, my sentence, I simplified your sentence because I think it got very cumbersome where people are like, well, I'm going to have to pay somebody to do this management plan and this is, you know, zoning and sketching and everything. So take a look at how I wrote it. I paraphrased a little bit. If you don't like it, we'll go right back to your one on your original one, Aaron. Like, I didn't use the words of marking of any wetlands.
Honestly, until you pointed it out, I didn't notice, so
I was just
if it makes sense
being transparent.
to everyone else, I'm good. So, any,
I have no comment
No?
on that.
I shortened the sentence, I guess.
yeah, I think it's fine.
Just be sure that you feel okay with that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The D, the applicant attested that all animals, what am I looking at here? The registration under this regulation shall be permanent. Okay, so we need to make that decision. Well, so, I mean, if this is a voluntary registry, then we shouldn't make people do this on a regular basis,
Agreed.
would be my opinion.
Annual?
Yeah, I think it should just be, you register it, and then, well, I did have language that I believe, put in one of those drafts that changes, you would need to report. So then it comes down to where's the teeth need to be if we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
If we don't care about that information, which,
I don't
and maybe
think
we
do.
don't.
The whole purpose was just to know where the animals are.
Right.
And then we talked about like how many animals, and then it became too cumbersome because people are like, well, my chickens got eaten by foxes. And so like so I think
Yeah.
not doing that. I think just once.
I disagree, I guess, because I think if we ask people to do it annually, then we don't have to put in the 90-day thing. They're just going to think about it annually and like, oh, yeah, you know, I have a few more animals or a few less animals, and I'll tell them about it now. 'cause it's an
Do we still
annual.
have a 90-day thing?
It looks like that came out.
I didn't take it out.
My challenge to that would be, we do it annually, somebody doesn't do it, so what? We don't care?
Great. Well,
Yeah.
that's
What, can we just
what
put in
we're
a sentence that
trying
says?
to
Right.
educate people that how good it would be if they did, but
Right.
we don't have any.
Because that would be where
Tenants right now.
I don't know if that's a good move for us at that point as a Board of
I don't
Health. That
think
would be a
so,
good
too.
move for the Health Department.
If it would make it easier, if we're making a database and I have contact information for people, I can email them manually. Has anything materially changed? No? You're all good.
Yep, I agree.
Maybe that's the process, we just,
Anybody
Make it
else
a thing.
have comments?
Okay.
we could put that in there that the Health Department follows up on an annual basis, and then the requirement is not that they have to do something, that the Health Department does the follow-up.
Then the ball is back in your court again, though, so it's making more work for you. I kind of like just, if we put a sentence in that says, please update the health department of any
Hey,
changes.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So going back to doing it once.
So it would be once initially, and then please provide updates. So like if you get, what do you think? You say
Could
two?
you put, instead of like numbers of animals, could you just put species and eliminate that? Because like if you get like chickens, I don't know, people are up to on chickens, 30 of them, you might
What
go
part are
30.
you at, Joe?
Number of animals by general category is what's there.
Yeah.
So we could just change
That's a
this.
number thing, right? So you're talking about like if you get extra chickens or you get extra things, but if they get like a whole new, like, if they get a cow instead of goats,
Right.
right? Then update Chris, right? As opposed to if you get an extra goat that had a baby this year, right? Then you are gonna have to update Chris. So Chris is gonna have, I'm only trying to save Chris, like I said, this doesn't matter to me, but Chris is gonna be inundated with emails comes the spring, and Chris is one person, and already gets a lot of emails.
This is exactly why I brought Joe here tonight. I didn't bring him here.
Ghost birthday cards I'll be sending out.
Yeah.
And actually, if we, I'm sorry, I just, because this relates back to, on the registration form section, number 5, I think it's on the previous page, the number of animals by general category was intended to be by species. So it's like, I have cows, I have chickens, that. It was not intended to be like, I have 6 chickens in this, et cetera.
It says that, yeah.
I don't think it's clear enough,
It says
and
number.
I'm the one that wrote it, so I don't think it's clear enough, you know.
Right.
Okay, good point, Joe, thank you.
So I think that helps, because then the change is, if we do decide to go annually, if the type of species in which you hold changes, notify the Board of Health.
I think we had said significant change, but what does that mean? You know, like going from
Yeah.
1 to 2 is double, but going
Right.
from,
No, right.
from 10 to 20 is a bigger change, I think.
Right, but we still know there's chickens there, so does it matter?
No,
you know?
exactly. That's how I feel.
Because we're not
about
gonna
it, too.
police is the enclosure big enough, et cetera, so, maybe it is just, does the material species change, and then, you know, all right, now you've got cows, well, hold on a minute, what's going on there?
Right, so we're gonna tweak D.
Yep.
Well, so there was that section, it looks like it was in between?
In Aaron's draft, the next statement was registration under the regulation shall be permanent.
Yeah, that was, yeah, so section C and D previously, which were omitted in this new draft. So maybe it just becomes, you know, people like annual, so, I mean, I don't have a problem with annual if there's a mechanism. So if we have that and there's a way to notify the Board of Health, then we make it one section, throw it in there, you know, update the Board of Health annually of any material changes in species, call it a day. Works for me.
I'm sorry, so
No,
just to be
yeah.
clear. They really only have to register their animals once, that's permanent.
Right.
And then once a year, they're gonna get a reminder to please update us with any changes?
I think we were talking about not doing that
Not
to
doing
alleviate
that.
burden on the health department, but the language would then be,
Please
if there.
update us of any change.
Yeah, update the Board of Health of any material changes in species. That would be the limit of it. So it's incumbent upon the applicant to notify.
I just don't think they're gonna remember to do that.
Probably, but, and again, it's like, then do we fine them?
No.
Because,
it's
but
voluntary.
then we have to recoup the cost of Chris notifying them, because it's gonna cost the town money. So, what do we do? I mean, that's the
I
complaint,
think
is we're
it's
gonna put
going
more
back
work
to
on the health
being
department.
voluntary anyways, like the people who are gonna wanna do it are gonna wanna do it, you know? I know it's not ideal, but I mean, otherwise it seems like it's gonna be paperwork, like Chris checking in, they've already said that they have chickens, it's just like confirming that they still have chickens. It's like if they're on the voluntary registration, then they're on, and then that way we can provide what we need to provide when we need to provide it.
It could also be updated on a complaint basis, so if Chris gets a complaint, my neighbor had chickens and now he's got a donkey out there, right? Chris would know, and Chris could go in and be like,
Oh, they don't have a donkey.
hey, they don't have a donkey on there, right?
Yeah,
Let me shoot them an email.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not emailing every single person that has a chicken in the town.
And going back to like, the whole point of this is if we have some sort of an emergency and somebody did not update theirs and they no longer have animals, what's the worst gonna happen? They're gonna have a call to say,
Yeah.
hey,
Exactly.
you know, we're, you know,
No
here's this
harm, no
thing.
foul.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't think.
No
it's-
harm, no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. Did you just say that?
I did, and it wasn't even on purpose.
Tell us about your donkey so we can save your ass.
We're so funny here on the board.
I think
So under
that, sorry, Lisa, go
C,
ahead.
after that first black ink sentence, then you do want to say, registration under this regulation shall be permanent, and that, whatever the other language was,
Yeah.
to inform Board of Health of any changes, significant changes.
Yes.
And you know what we could do, this is just a nice side thought, is we could like blast out something, like if there is a risk, like a known risk or a confirmed case, we could do like a social media post from the Board of Health saying, you know, hey, if you haven't voluntarily registered your animal to us, we just want, like, you might want to consider, because here is a case of bird flu. You know what I mean?
Yeah, another opportunity for education.
Right.
Okay.
Further discussion on that before we move on?
Let's keep going.
No?
No.
I think this section D that's written here, we should omit in full, actually, rather than make any changes. Rationale being, there's questions regarding zoning, building things. We want them to do those things. Let's not get into the business, I think, of that. They're going to tell us where the enclosures are. They don't need to attest to us what
kind of agree
exactly
with
they're going to
you.
do with them. And the nuisance conditions thing gets weird because of what might happen with right to farm, so why don't we just not get into that at all?
So you're saying to leave.
Get rid of
out.
D.
Get rid of D, in the new draft, get rid of D where it says the applicant has attested that animals shall be confined within enclosures, et
The
cetera.
whole paragraph?
Yeah, I would just cut the whole thing. Section 8, you had just changed the regulation name. I would, instead of wording it like that, let's use livestock.
Yep,
So, regulation for the registration of livestock.
on the top of the first page as well.
Yep. And then I guess to go back to the beginning question, I would be, I guess, more in favor after looking through this, using the word registry defined, and then just explaining what that is, if the general requirement's gonna be that the Board of Health establishes a registry. So instead of that, we're gonna create a permit application, we're gonna create a registry, and that's the regulation. I think
Yes.
that solves the problem.
Cool.
All right, we talked through a lot.
That was good.
Any general
I
things?
feel like we're a powerhouse.
I can probably handle a black eye today if anybody feels like giving me one.
Yeah, that's good.
Nobody on this board, I think, well, maybe Joe.
Wonderful.
No, you're okay?
Who's going to define the word registry?
I think we can.
Great.
Sorry.
Okay, well,
Carol.
have fun with this, you four.
Thanks.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure
You-
it out.
We have until April 1st to have you sign this.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we would need to meet to vote for it, so.
I thought we could vote now with all these changes.
Oh, we could, but we did tell the public that we would notify them when we would vote, so.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, and if we do vote, it will need to be circulated in the newspaper before it goes into effect. So I don't think that's in the best interest.
Oh, no, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, we could call a meeting for next Tuesday and do it, but I don't know that that's super fair. So we can,
Okay.
we can talk about that now if we want, figure out if we want to try and get this done as a five-some, but I don't know that it's worth it if we're at the position that we're at.
Next meeting.
Yeah,
All right.
you have my blessing. How's that?
You don't want your signature on
On the
there?
video.
Yeah, my hand's tired. So we'll move on to the last approval item here, which is approval of request for additional garbage barrels. I don't think anybody here's for that. And we'll move to correspondence. Does anybody have any correspondence?
I have one.
Yes, indeed.
Christopher Schultz.
All right, so,
Agent.
as we know, Aaron's last meeting today. Aaron has been on this board for 7 years, and I have a proclamation I would like to read.
Oh, my.
Whereas Aaron Christian has devoted 7 years of exemplary service to the Abington Board of Health, demonstrating an unwavering commitment to the health, safety, and well-being of every resident of this community. And whereas for 5 of those years, Mr. Christian has served as chair of the Board of Health, providing steadfast and principled leadership during a period of great challenge, COVID, and consequences for public health in our community and across the Commonwealth, COVID. And whereas Mr. Christian has led the board with a calm and level head, consistently approaching even the most complex and contentious public health matters with thoughtful deliberation, careful judgment, and measured temperament that has earned the trust and respect of his colleagues and the community he serves. And whereas his conduct as chair has been marked by an abiding sense of fairness, ensuring that all voices are heard, that deliberations are conducted with integrity, and that decisions are made in the best interest of all residents of Abington without favor or partiality. And whereas Aaron Christian's steady presence and dedication have strengthened the Board of Health as an institution, and his years of service stand as a testament to the highest ideals of civic responsibility and public leadership. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Abington Board of Health does hereby recognize and honor Aaron Christian for his 7 years of outstanding service, his 5 years of distinguished and equitable chairmanship, and for the steadfastness, fairness, and level-headed leadership he has brought to the board and to the people of Abington. The board extends its deepest gratitude and its highest commendation for a record of public service of which the entire community may be proud. Signed, Katie Van Nest, Vice Chair, and Christopher Schultz, Health Agent. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
On a personal note, I have known Aaron since he was a snotty-nosed 11-year-old kid who told me as a new scoutmaster to take my new policies and go pack them.
You did end up doing that, by the way.
Yes. In the time since then, I've had the pleasure to call him a friend, a coworker.
Yeah,
Worked with
forgot
him
about
on
that.
this board. I am extremely proud of everything you've done. It's been a great pleasure to work with you. And as a very, very small token of our appreciation, because this probably reflects how you feel about public health after 7 years.
Oh, my.
We have a small gift for you.
Is this something that I can open in front of you? Oh. I am Board, B-O-R-E-D, of Health. I only wish I had a 2x4. We have talked about that all through COVID. I have a legitimate Board of Health.
So, thank you on behalf of,
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. That was lovely.
Very nice.
I've signed very many of these, but it means something else to
That's for,
get one of my
Final
own.
signature.
suitable for framing.
Thank you.
It even has a very shiny golden.
Yeah, I heard it was stamped. Thank you. Thanks for the memories. Try not to cause a global pandemic or anything while I'm gone. Mitigate it to the best you can. Wish I had better advice. Didn't really prepare a speech or anything. Kind of did the last meeting. But here we are.
We
And
do appreciate all your work.
yeah, and I only live a whole 45 minutes away now, so it's just a quick walk up the road. All right. Any other correspondence to share? None. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn from Katie, second from Carol. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous, and we are adjourned.
You're done.